Hello there.
Hi guys, so in today's video we're going to be moving on from the Border Gavaskar Trophy and we're going to be looking at the first test of England's tour of India. In this test we saw a lot of unexpected things and we'll be getting to them soon. So India were firm favourites, and the last time they lost a test series was to England in 2012. But then they had only lost 3 test series at home in 33 years leading up to 2021. So let's get to the first innings. England won the toss and decided to bat. Joe Root played what could be called the innings of the year. We could even call it the innings of the decade so far because it's a new decade. But I don't think that any innings from a single batsman is going to trump this innings in this entire year and in the fixtures to come, because he got a double century in his 100th test match, which is really cool for him because 100 test matches for your country is a huge milestone. And I don't think anyone in the India team had played 100 test matches leading up to this series, because Ishant was going to play his 100th in the 3rd test match. So Joe Root played an excellent innings, and I don't think there was a way he could be faulted because it was a superlative innings, and he got out, but I don't think we can fault him. 200 is really good, and he took I think 377 balls. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's a lot of balls, which means the bowlers were 377 balls more tired, which means that the other batsmen would have had an easier time. I think I explained the concept of taking a lot of balls when I was talking about Pujara in a previous video, so be sure to check that out if you wanna know more. So yeah, and then Stokes played another excellent innings, which is what you'd expect from him because he's Ben Stokes. He won England the World Cup in the finals. But yeah, maybe he was a bit fortunate, but still. And because he's Ben Stokes, we've all come to expect great things from him. And despite not getting 100, he did play a very good innings, and he did something similar to what Bunt would do in Australia, in which he played very fast, not as fast as Bunt, but he did play that role of the person in the middle order who does hit a lot and just starts going after the bowlers, getting them annoyed, and just hits boundaries and gets the runs, which he is very good at doing, and he has done it for a while. I think he did a very good job, and even though he didn't get a century, it's fine because Root had gone in over 200, so even if he got 50 and even if he got 40 or something and everyone else got 10 or 20, that's more than 300, which looks like it would have been tough to chase. So now India needed, I think, 578. Yeah, so India were trailing by 578 coming into their first innings to bat. So we all expected them to put on a show. They did do this to an extent, but because of the collapse of the top order, most of the runs came from 3 players: Pujara, Bunt and Washington Sundar. Washington Sundar is a lower order batsman and he's an all-rounder, so he doesn't come in too early. So it's weird that so much of the batting innings was on his shoulders. But then Bunt did a really good job, and he did something like what Stokes did, except at a much quicker rate, because he got 91 of 88, which is for a test match, it's super quick. Even for an ODI, that's fairly quick. Bunt definitely did very good, but it wasn't good enough because, in my opinion, if he got 150 and Pujara got maybe 120 or something too, or somewhere over 100, then India would have stood a very good chance. But because no one broke the 100-run barrier, I think that meant that India couldn't get the runs as they were trailing by too many, and on a pitch which was quickly degrading and becoming even better for the England spinners. Pujara, who I mentioned before, he got a resilient 73 of 143. He did a very good job. I would have just liked to see him get maybe 150 off of maybe 250 or maybe 300, because I really like Pujara as a player. There's no ego about his game. I think many people have said this. He has no ego about his game. It's he'll bat for the team. He won't bat for his runs. He'll bat so that the team can win. India collapsed and they weren't looking so good because they were still trailing by 241. And England could have been forced to follow on, but many people predicted that they wouldn't. And those who did were right, because they didn't. And they batted again. So this time they were leading by 241, so they just went for some quick runs, and they did get some decent runs, I think 178, but like less than 200. And it was clear to see that the pitch was no longer good to bat at all, because like the spin off of the pitch was so much that it resembled the fifth day of a test match. And there were puffs of dust and everything. But Root got the highest total again, but he didn't even get 50, he got 40 runs. They were clearly looking for quick runs because Root only faced, I think, 35 balls or something. They definitely didn't bat well the second innings, but I don't think we can blame them because the pitch was clearly not in the correct state for a batsman to play his shots properly, or for a team to get lots of runs, or even to get 500 like they did. India now needed 420 to get the victory, so they batted again. So this time Kohli performed well. He went for only 11 runs in the first innings. This time he got a 72. He played so well and commanded the pitch, and he commanded India so well that it didn't look like India needed to get 420. It looked like they were in the lead. No one else even got 50 in this innings, except Shubman Gill, who got like exactly 50. But yeah, him and Kohli were the only ones to get 50 runs. But despite this, India did actually get more runs in their second innings than England got in their second innings. So even though they did win the second innings, if that's like what you can say, they lost the test match by quite a lot, because they needed 420 and they were all out for like 192. They lost by 238 runs, which is what you can consider a whooping, because if either team played another innings, then England could have enforced another follow-on. So it's just not great for India because these are their home conditions. But then England were arguably better prepared, seeing as they had just come out of Sri Lanka, whereas India were playing against Australia. I don't think anyone would have expected 200 from a single player in the first test match, because generally like you would need like a day or something, or maybe even a test match to figure out the conditions. But maybe it's because they had played a series against Sri Lanka in Sri Lanka, which means that they would have had some practice with the conditions, because Sri Lanka and Chennai, the conditions are fairly similar. So yeah, I think that could be why they didn't need as long of a time to get used to the conditions as India. People might say that, oh, they're both hot countries, what's the difference? Its conditions are a lot different, because the bounce and everything is, yeah, it's different. Whereas India, the entire country is just spinner's wicket and spinner's wicket and spinner's wicket. So spinners are going to be the better bowlers in India, but I don't know, were they not prepared? I don't know, but it was just strange to see India like lose by so much at home, especially seeing as Kohli hadn't lost a test match as captain for a long time. Comment down below what it is, because I don't remember the exact number. But yeah, but I think we can say that England, their batting was excellent and elegant and just a proper batting innings with the shots and everything. It defined batting in cricket because they batted so well. But then India, we can't say that they didn't try, because they were so resilient in the way they batted, and the match was like, they just kept working and working, even though like it looked as if they had no chance. They just kept going after it. So it just shows how the Indians were so resilient that even in the face of what seemed like a complete and definite loss, we could take this as a positive and say how India, just their resilience and motivation, like you can't fault that. Maybe you can fault their performance, but then the pitch had been degraded so much that it would have been very hard for India to get any runs. But yeah, we can fault their performance, but we can't fault their attitude. It didn't look like they were just playing for a draw anymore. It looked like they were actually trying to win, and they were trying to put in their best performance possible. It didn't work out, but again, we can't fault their attitude. So I hope we learned a few things from this test match, such as the resilience which India showed and the elegance with which England batted. So now I'd like to talk about a few unsung heroes in this test match, because I didn't mention like Dom Sibley, who got 87 in the first innings, and I think Stokes and Root would have overshadowed him just because they're Stokes and Root. but he still got a very good score. He got 87, and he took 286 balls. I just had to check again to make sure I wasn't like seeing like that, because that was like that innings itself was like a Pujara kind of innings, but even slower than Pujara. So he just did such a good job at wearing out the Indian bowlers, because he didn't like play to get his runs. He just played to play for England, to see out the bowlers and make them more tired and just help out the team rather than increase his average or statistics or whatever. But I think he would have been overshadowed by Stokes and Root. And another player is Ravi Ashwin. He bowled the most overs, but he still didn't give the most runs. Like Shabaz Nadeem bowled the second most overs with 44, which is still immense, and gave away 167 runs. It's not great, it's not bad, but it's there. He did get 2 wickets, which is good, and Ashwin bowled 55 overs, and he only gave away 146 runs, and he took 3 wickets. So it just goes to show that despite the fact that people might make fun of him because like some people might say that, oh, he tries to bowl 7 different balls in an over, which, I mean, if you don't understand, there's 6 balls in an over. If you try and bowl 7 balls, you're kind of like, you're basically just trying to do too much. But yeah, back to Ashwin. He, even though people might make fun of him, like that doesn't take away from the fact that he's such a good player, because the fact that he's so economical despite bowling 55 overs, which like most bowlers would be like panting like a dog or something by then, whereas he's just like still bowling and taking wickets and doing his job. That's it for today's slot of the Unsung Heroes. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out our other videos. Click the bell icon to stay up to date with us, and yeah, just see you next time, I guess.